Inside Michigan Football is presented by Meyer. Hi again, friends. Welcome inside the Big House for another edition of Inside Michigan Football. The Wolverines victorious on Saturday over UNLV, 35-7. John, workmanlike, and again, the game story is the precision of the quarterback, J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, another step in the right direction. You want to attain all the goals that Michigan has talked about. You got to get great quarterback play. We saw it with ball handling skills in the backfield and being able to run the ball. We also saw it with precise passage in tight coverage and, again, hitting receivers when they could do something with it afterwards. And how about the Jets of Roman Wilson? We'll get to that in just a minute. I got too excited.
All right, let's start with first half highlights. UNLV with the football, Braden McGregor into the backfield for a tackle for loss.
When you have a guy, Braden McGregor is a guy that Jim Harbaugh has talked about now for 2 years, ready to break out. He is doing everything right to get after the ball carrier, to get after the quarterback. Here's another example.
Wolverines were great on third down on Saturday. Here's JJ on 3rd and 8 to Tyler Morris for 16 yards.
You love to see, I think it was 8 different receivers that JJ was able to hit. Being able to get Tyler Morris involved in the passing game, get all these guys involved is going to be a huge asset for this team.
JJ again working to Roman Wilson for 25 yards. Roman Wilson having a great start to this senior campaign.
He is. I mean, the ability for him to get in the end zone, I mean, I know Cornelius is probably looking at there going, hey, where's mine? But it's coming. Trust me, Cornelius, hang in there. Yours is coming as well.
All right, so here's JJ with a check down. But you want to talk about offensive line play with Jansen Vision.
I do, and I want to start this off before the play even goes, and just look at this big gap right here with no defender. So Zach Zinter right now, All-American guard, has no work to do. So when the ball is snapped, he's going to be looking around, making sure, hey, there's nobody coming in my gap. We're not looking at a safety blitz, nothing exotic, nothing wild. All of a sudden, he's just looking for work to do. There's no better friend to an offensive tackle than a guard that's willing to put in the work. And I want you to watch as he directs this missile of a body to this defensive end right here outside of Miles Hinton. And it's an absolute thing of beauty. And I tell you what, there is a whole lot of players right now that are looking at that, edge rushers that said, you know what, I'd rather keep the outside. I don't want to come inside. I don't want any part of Zach Zinter.
All right, here we go, 3rd and 7, and Sharon Moore dials up a draw play to Blake Corum, weaving through the defense to set up a 1st and goal, and then the Wolverines go quickly and just stuff it in with the road grading offensive line.
Yeah, I don't know what the play call was. It could have been 31 blast, 32 blast. It doesn't matter. It was basically, hey, get behind the center, everybody step towards the center, and just annihilate anybody in front of you.
Wolverines on top, 7-0. UNLV's ensuing possession. Derek Moore off the edge, one of 5 Michigan first-half sacks.
To watch Derek Moore at practice, I'm surprised that he hasn't had more sacks because he's explosive, he's athletic, he uses his hands extremely well, and this is a great example of him being able to get to the corner.
After that, a couple of Blake Corum runs. Michigan got the run game going. This was starting to look more like a Michigan rushing attack.
It was, and you look at the total yards, you say 179. Wow, that's an impressive performance. But there was no 50-yard run, there was no 75-yard run. It was just a methodical way of dealing with another loaded box.
All right, here is J.J. McCarthy, sleight of hand on the ball fake, and he gets around right end, and he's got the Wolverines knocking on the door here late in the first quarter.
You talk about the threat that a quarterback possesses, and you want to have that deep threat. We have yet to see that, but to be able to have the precision that he's operating with in the pass game, it's going to open up things like this. And if you can show from the quarterback position that you have the ability to have this type of ball handling skills and fake ability in the backfield, plus the speed and elusiveness to get on the edge, it's another weapon.
All right, first play of the second quarter, Blake Corum into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown of the day, and the Wolverines were on top 14-0. Let's pick it up. The pass rush gets going again. Jalen Harrell puts him behind the sticks with one of what would be 2 sacks on this possession. And for the 2nd sack, let's go to Jansen Vision. This is a 3rd down play.
And I want you to watch on this one where you have Jalen Harrell who lines up here, and Mike Barrett is the one that really should be credited with this sack. Mike Barrett is gonna knock off this tackle. He's gonna draw the attention of this back, allowing, as he comes in here, allowing Jalen Harrell to come around. And as this play starts to develop, you look and you say, okay, this is the pick. All right, and now right now it looks like on this pick you want to be able to bounce off and get the quarterback yourself. He does that, but then the running back comes over and is looking, well, I got to block Mike Barrett, and then all of a sudden, here comes Jalen Harrell for the sack. It was a team sack, and it was, let's just say, call it what it is. It's a thing of beauty.
Mike Elston, defensive line coach, really getting the job done. All right, look at this throw from JJ to Cornelius Johnson, 20 yards, and we talk about the pinpoint accuracy.
Well, I mean, when you have the opportunity as a quarterback, or as a receiver, to work with a quarterback like this, you're going to run these routes as precise as possible, as hard as possible, because you know whether you're the first option, the third or fourth option, he's going to put the ball where it needs to be, and you could be the guy he's looking for.
All right, this play, we go to Jansen Vision again for a shared sack between Chris Jenkins and Kenneth Grant. Let's just call this crunch.
Yes, and this is crunch. Unfortunate to be this guy right here, but this is, and I'm not sure what this tight end is doing. Initially, Chris Jenkins is double teamed by the tackle and the tight end. And as you watch this play develop, I'm thinking, okay, he's blocked. But then all of a sudden, the threat of Kenneth Grant coming in here draws the attention of the tackle. I'm not sure what this tight end was doing, but he ends up blocking nobody, and Chris Jenkins comes unblocked, and to be able to wrangle a quarterback that's a good athlete, he's there, and then Kenneth Grant follows things up with the Malachi crunch.
All right, later in that same drive, this is Mike Sainristil with a big hit. UNLV was trying to make it a football game at this point, but he dislodges the football, leads to a punt.
And Mikey Sainristil has done so much this year to take his game to the next level. He's one of those guys that decided to come back, a two-time captain now. We saw him at the corner position last week. Last year it was nickel. Now we see him at the corner and nickel. His coverage skills, but the closing ability on this play, the ability to get there with some violence and knock that ball out, it's going to be something that he's going to be known for.
All right, Michigan goes into 4-minute drill mode here. First of all, Cornelius Johnson with the reception from JJ takes a big hit at the end of this one. And then 3rd and 7, again, JJ with a check down to Donovan Edwards for 15 yards.
When you have a weapon like Donovan Edwards on the field, you know you can go to him at any time. And we talk about that double barrel formation. I talked to Coach Hart after the game. That provides so many opportunities for this offense.
And how about this? JJ in the run game runs down the middle of the field for 14 yards.
Yeah, it's called quarterback sneak. He steps back, quarterback draw. He steps back, one pump, all of a sudden he takes off. A great job by opening, parting of the Red Seas by that offensive line.
Precision pass for the touchdown to Roman Wilson. It was 21-0. Roman Wilson and JJ really got something going.
They do. The ability for those guys to work together, and it's going to be other guys that get in the end zone, but right now it's a great start of the season for both of those players.
So that was your score at the half, 21-0 Michigan. Jay Harbaugh handed the headset to Mike Hart. He took over. We'll have second half highlights when we continue here on Inside Michigan Football.
Just another day in the office, all the guys on the team, we just love football, man. It's kind of like, Monday through Friday, it's like our work week, and then, Saturday's I don't know what you would call it, but a party.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2023 Michigan football season and proud supporter of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest. Doug Carson, John Jansen at the Big House, Michigan leading 21-0 as we go to the second half. We pick it up with their quarterback, Doug Brumfield, no one to throw to, and here's Mason Graham.
Yeah, when you have the ability to put pressure on quarterbacks or make plays with your defensive tackles, talk about the athletic ability of these guys. In his second year as a starter, only in his second year with the program, Mason Graham's had a huge force.
All right, Michigan 47 yards from pay dirt, and here's JJ. You talked about it earlier in the show, hitting somebody in stride, allowing them to outrun a defender.
And Roman Wilson doesn't even break stride. It's like he doesn't even catch the pass. It just is glued to his hands, and he catches it in stride, and then it's all about speed at that point. He just completely runs away from the defender. But the location, the accuracy of hitting Roman Wilson on the run, if he doesn't, if it's too far and he gets off balance, if he throws it too far behind and has to stutter just a little bit, it's a tackle. This turns into a touchdown. Roman
Wilson, a nose for the end zone, started last year, late in the year in the Fiesta Bowl. Michigan's defense doing the job. Here's Braden McGregor, another tackle for loss.
Yeah, and when you have the athletic ability, the reach that Braden McGregor has, it really helps when you're talking about being able to stop the run, especially on the edge.
All right, let's go to Jansen Vision for this Blake Corum run. very close to breaking it.
It is, and here's what I want to start with. This is Max Bredesen. We know Zach Zinter, All-American guard. We've talked about him already. Zach is going to pull, and he's going to try and kick out. You've got Max Bredesen, who's going to be following in tow, and then we've got patience from Blake Corum. And I'm going to let this run just a little bit. As you can see, you've got Zach here. He's going to square him up, and it doesn't always result in a guy that's road grading. Sometimes you've got to be able to bubble around, adjust. So Zach takes the defensive end. Max comes around, and he's going to take this, but it's going to take a little patience as Blake Corum gets in right behind Max. If he's too quick, it's a tackle for loss. That patience pays off, and he ends up going 19. Now, here's what I want to highlight, too. Watch this. He knows I should not have been tackled by that one guy.
Blake Corum. Now, that sets up this sequence of plays. First of all, JJ over the middle finds Cornelius Johnson for 26 yards.
Yeah, great connection between both JJ and Roman and JJ and Cornelius. Back-to-back
26-yard gainers. Here is Cornelius on a reverse. I know he wanted to get into the end zone.
Yeah, and we heard from our number 8, Jason Avant, hey, you got to do anything you can to get in the end zone. You haven't had one yet. You've seen Roman Wilson do it 5 times. Do a somersault, do something. Hey, it's going to come.
Here's Blake Corum, 5 yards for the touchdown behind the offensive line as he gets in to make it 35-0 Michigan. Let's go ahead to the fourth quarter. Jack Tuttle, this is his first snap in the big house as a Michigan quarterback. This is a great job on the zone read to pull the football and keep it. Unfortunately, it was his only snap on Saturday.
It was, and when you watch the end of this play, it was a cheap shot. And you hate to see a cheap shot result in an injury, and a lot of times they do. It was great to see him be able to get up. It appeared to be his left shoulder, his non-throwing arm, so hopefully we'll see him again.
All right, later, Michigan up 35-7 now. Here's a kick return from the freshman, Samaj Morgan, who bounces off a would-be tackler. It looked like it could have been a big hit, but he keeps his feet and gives Michigan decent field position.
Great balance, and he knows, if I want more opportunity, I got to go out there and play, and he did.
And I love this. UNLV jumps in the neutral zone, so you know what that means. Everybody go deep, and Jaden Denegal gets to air it out here to Samaj Morgan.
First, you have to have receivers that understand what happened. They're looking at the ball. They're going on the snap of the ball. Somebody's offsides. They're going deep. You got to have a quarterback that understands that as well. Protection was good. You love to see a couple of young guys be able to make that connection.
Young receiver showing some potential. And the final 35-7. And John, after 2 games, I mean, the story is the aerial attack right now. Michigan precision aerial attack.
It is. Great performance by JJ, great performance by the wide receivers. There's been some tough catches. There's been some great catches and runs, and it's been great protection as well.
All right, we go into the locker room and hear from the head coaches next here on Inside Michigan Football.
The key is treat every single day like game day. Every single day, every single rep, whether it's for me, in quarterback center exchange, treat it like it's 4th and 2 on the goal line, like we gotta have it.
Our conversation with the coaches is brought to you by Meyer.
Head coach of the first half, Jay Harbaugh. Jay, first opportunity to be the man at the helm. What'd you think?
It was a lot of fun. It's the kind of team and coaching staff that makes this kind of thing probably as easy as it can be. Everyone's smart, they're on the same page, and playing pretty good football, so it was fun. It was an honor.
I know there was an emphasis of wanting to take what the defense was giving you, but also get that running game going a little bit. Was that a point of emphasis in the first half for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's just playing, whatever kind of game we need to play. We want to be able to run the ball always and throw the ball to complement that. And sometimes it works the other way around, too. If we're going to be able to throw shots over people's heads, then it's going to open up the run game. So I think you got to be able to take what the defense gives you, like you said, and we certainly did that today.
5 sacks in the first half, a lot of pressure applied. What'd you see from just your front 7?
Just dominance. I mean, those guys practice their butts off. They train really hard. They take their preparation really seriously, and to see them go out and play like that, they deserve it. They've earned that throughout the week. So that whole group, the whole front, great against the run and then really disruptive against the pass. Really, we're thankful as a secondary to have those guys up there.
You are the first black head coach at the University of Michigan. What does that mean to you? Not just a guy that has a great legacy here, but to be able to be the guy that is going to always be talked about in that form.
Yeah, it just means a lot. Obviously, everybody knows that. I knew that going into the game. I knew that before the game, and just how far we've come, you know, especially at Michigan, you know, as a black coach, you know, just getting this opportunity, Coach Harbaugh giving me the opportunity, you know, wouldn't have happened a long time ago. So it's an honor, you know, it's a privilege, and you know, I'm glad it was me. You know, it's a dream come true.
Let's talk about one of your guys, Blake Corum. I know we'll talk about them all, but 3 touchdowns tonight. What'd you see from him?
You know, he just continued to improve every game. You know, getting more confident. Like I said, we didn't give him that much during fall camp. You know, so he's getting more confident. He's a guy that he's a rep guy. He loves to have a lot of carries, but he's just running. He's just got to be a little bit more decisive, like we talked about. He knows, you know, should have had another long one this game, but he's improving every game, and that's what I want to see. For JJ, from an offensive perspective, what'd you see from him, and how impressive has his first 2 games been? I mean, just I think he was 22 or 25 today. That's really, really impressive. The way he grows, the way he prepares for these games, I mean, the growth that he's had from last year to this year, you know, you just see it in his preparation. He prepares. He knows what the defense is going to give him. He knows where to go with the ball fast. He's not taking sacks. He's just doing a phenomenal job, and I'm just so happy for him because the sky's the limit for him.
All right, let's start with Jay Harbaugh. He's coached running backs and tight ends and safeties and special teams, and he gets the win for the first half.
Yeah, now he coached the entire team, and I thought he did a great job. You know, only really one tough call, and I would have made the same call. 4th and 2, I'm going for it behind an offensive line that has dominated against the defensive line, but I thought it was a really good performance.
And then Mike Hart, you could see in the interview, he got emotional when you talked about him being the first black head coach in Michigan history.
And honestly, I wanted to stop the interview and just give him a big hug. I have been a fan of Mike Hart. Everybody thinks, hey, I don't know what people necessarily think, when you played it somewhere and then all of a sudden you're not there anymore, you become the biggest fan of these guys, of this team. I was a huge fan of Mike Hart, what he did as a player, what he meant to this program. Now that he's back as run game coordinator, running backs coach, again, he continues to make everybody proud, but to see the emotion on his face, I really just wanted to stop the interview and give him a big hug. I was so happy for him, for Michigan, and what this moment meant.
The Wolverine defense sent a message Saturday. Our Iron Man of the Week is next, here on Inside Michigan Football.
Our Elrose Steel Man of the Week is an entire position group, the D-line. The group registered 5 sacks, all in the first half. They heckled and harassed the Rebels right from the start, leading a defense that kept UNLV from crossing midfield until 9.5 minutes remained in the third quarter. And it doesn't matter who's in, Michigan comes at you in waves. With its depth, it's kind of like a hockey coach rolling out lines, keeping the guys fresh and aggressive all game long.
Derek Moore with that first sack definitely set the tone. Last week we said 0 sacks was unacceptable, so we had to come out with this go around and get some sacks.
11-man defense, so you know, without them guys, I'm not able to do what I want to do. Without me, they're not able to do what they want to do. So I feel like we're a team and we're a unit. In order for one person to be successful, everybody got to do their job and feed off that.
If one of us makes a play, the other person's going to be excited, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're on the roll, like you said, we just all keep going. And this gets the whole team excited, you know, a lot of juice, a lot of vibrancy, so we brought that to the...
It was definitely a lot of mistakes out there, but our 4 pillars is effort at angles, ball disruption, block destruction, and communication. We really based down on those to really make us a collective whole defense.
Kenneth Grant said the biggest disappointment about losing a shutout late for the 2nd consecutive week is they don't get a T-shirt the coaches promised to the entire team in just such a situation. John and Doug are coming right back to wrap up this week's show.
So next week, Michigan will be back here at the Big House under the lights, taking on Bowling Green, and a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, Scotty Leffler, their head coach, Steve Morrison on the defense, Soup Campbell offensively. It's going to be a little bit of a reunion, but that reunion will be put on pause for about 3.5 hours, and hopefully we not only see some fireworks, but we see a great light show.
Yes, the new lights will get debuted here at Michigan Stadium. Things to clean up for next week.
Well, I want to continue to see this run game develop, and we saw another step in the right direction today. I also want to see, we talked on the broadcast, some deep shots, and you don't have to take a deep shot just to take a deep shot, but I want to have that threat going into the Big Ten season that, hey, not only can JJ run the ball, not only is he precise on some of those crossing routes, getting the ball out, but hey, let's blow the top off of the defense.
I think that's in the playbook.
I think so as well. Yep.
All right, we'll take a look back at Bowling Green next week. We'll see you then here on Inside Michigan Football. Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2023 Michigan football season and proud supporter of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest.